Hello! Thank you for coming to this live stream today, everyone. I really appreciate it. This is going to be a Monday AMA. I'm doing these AMAs every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, really just to try to educate the community, answer some of your guys' questions, and kind of keep this really this discussion feedback loop going. And it's also good for me to practice with these live streams. I really do enjoy doing these AMAs. It's a lot of fun, and it's definitely it's a different style than doing any of my other style content. Just talking presumably for an hour to myself, really to a camera is an interesting style of video, but for whatever reason I feel like it's a useful skill. But thank you guys all for coming today. I really appreciate it. So far I see Anthony in here. I see the motivation niche in here, so thank you guys so much for coming. If you're just hopping in the chat, make sure you say hello, and we'll start chatting. Jago, thanks, man. I appreciate you swinging by the live stream today. We're doing an AMA. So before we jump into it, if you guys want to support me and my channel, the best way you can do so is delegate to Bloom and Bloom 2. We have over 3,000 different addresses delegated to our pool. We're over, I think, 340 million ADA delegated to our pool, and we made 200 blocks last epoch. It was an awesome epoch, and then at the same time, Cardano got decentralized 2.5 D equals 0.5. So 50% of the blocks are being made by stake pools, and then 50% of the blocks are being made by the federated nodes at IOHK. So big news. The future is looking bright and pretty decentralized. So I'm excited about that. Another way you can support me is download the Brave browser. The link for that will be down below. It blocks ads, pays you in cryptocurrencies, saves battery. It's an awesome app. You guys should check it out, or awesome web browser if you're on desktop. I also do stake pool consultation. Email me at peyton@bloompool.io. That'll be down below. I can also create and maintain your stake pool for you. But let's jump into it. Bloodville, what's up, man? Thanks for swinging by. Cardano Castello, Yago, Win Venus. Juan, what's up, man? Thanks for coming, Juan. I really appreciate it. Linda, what's up? And like I said, I'm going to be doing these every single Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I feel like there's a lot of new people coming into the Cardano community. It'll take me a second to learn how to talk right. It's kind of one of the negative aspects of this work from home era that we're entering. Linda said, "Hi, Pay. So many smart contract projects out there. Who do you see as Cardano's closest rival, and why?" I would say Ethereum. Ethereum's our closest rival just because of the mass of the system. The majority of people that are interested in smart contracts are really at Ethereum. So the native token standard that was released a few days ago, I wanted to talk about that a little bit too. I'm really excited about the Goguen news. I know a lot of people were kind of angry that Goguen wasn't coming out. Really, the majority of it's not coming out for another 5 or 6 months. I'm not surprised at all. I've been saying that for a few months. It's probably going to be 5 or 6 months out. I'm really excited about it, but I do think our biggest competitor is Ethereum, and you can tell that IOHK agrees about that too, because when you're comparing the native asset standard, you're comparing it to Ethereum. You're not looking at EOS, you're not looking at Binance Smart Chain or Polkadot, right? You're looking at specifically Ethereum. That's our biggest competitor. Really, if you can do it better than them, then I think we'll be in a good place. But I'm sure other worthy competitors will arise. So, what's up, Alexander Short? I really appreciate you joining. What are you shorting today, man? Is that your last name, or are you short? Are you a big short guy? You wait for depressions or recessions to come, and you short the hell out of them. Christopher, hey Peyton, thank you for all the hard work. No problem, man. I really appreciate you coming to this live stream today, man. It means a lot. Like I said, every Monday at 3 p.m. Alexander Short said, "Hey, Pay, will Cardano create a stable coin?" Yes, they will. Emergo is actually working on creating a stable coin with Ergo on the Ergo chain. And the reason they're doing that is actually to get experience using smart contracts to create these stable coins, or to really create any style coin or smart contract. And then they're going to move over from Ergo over to the Cardano main chain. And to me, that kind of reminds me of the incentivized testnet. We did that with the incentivized testnet for staking. We essentially all learned how to run nodes and be a part of this decentralized network, and we used that experience and brought it to mainnet. So they are doing that with the stable coin, so I do foresee a stable coin coming in the near future. What's the best resource to start learning how to code dApps for the upcoming Goguen era on Plutus? No prior coding experience. It's a good question, man. I would ask that in the Cardano developers Telegram channel. I do have Telegram pulled up, so I can send that to you real quick. But I know that those guys are, and I'm going to be caught up with this stuff very soon. I've just been very busy lately. Those guys are on it. If you get in there and you ask them, okay, where do I start? I'm sure they will get you that information. So there's the link for that. That's the Telegram for the Cardano developers. It's the official chat, so ask that question in there. I'm sure they're going to provide you with the best up-to-date resources for how to learn Plutus. Just want to say thanks again. I appreciate you guys all swinging by. There's 51 people here. Make sure you guys leave a like on this video. Also, clicking that notification bell about right here. It really helps out my channel and helps me in the algorithm. So, all right, where was I at? Alexander said, long live Cardano. Yeah, it's last name. So just as long as you're not shorting Cardano or ADA, I'm happy. Celtic said, hi, Pay. Tell us about people setting up a pool server. I think you're referring to the service that I advertised at the beginning of the video. If you're interested in that, just email me down below, peyton@bloompool.io. It's pretty simple. It's the bottom link in the description. Update on voting. Okay, so it's a good question. I really appreciate it. It's the Project Catalyst. So the voting, what's going on right now is it was delayed. The actual vote date, the start, will be to be determined. But remember, the day it's released, I will have a video on my channel that walks you step by step through a guide on how to vote, and essentially everything you need to do to participate in the Catalyst voting and the Fund 2, right? I'll have a step-by-step guide on how to do that. As far as when that video is going to be released, it's to be determined, right? So we have no idea when the date is. What period are we in right now? That's another good question that I just made up. We are in the assessors period, right? So the way Catalyst works is you have all of these proposals. You have 100 proposals. I think there's like 90 right now. So 90 proposals, and you get to apply as someone who wants to be an assessor, right? So you can assess proposals, and it's based on three things. It's based on feasibility, audibility, and I think impact. I may be wrong on one of those, but I think those are the main three. One's weighted 50%, and the other two's weighted 25%. So the voters assess the proposals based on that, right? And then that happened for a week long. For example, my proposal, the Cardano AMA podcast. I want to talk about that in a second. But my proposal was assessed by, I think, 32 different people. But you got to realize, especially with something like my proposal, there's going to be a lot of bias towards my proposal, and there's going to be a lot of bias towards podcast proposals in general, right? So you have this second round, the second 1 week, where the assessors are assessed by other people, right? So essentially, the assessors have to give a reason why they don't like it, why it doesn't meet the criteria, and if they don't, those reviews will be taken down. So what's going on with it? We're in the assess of the assessors period. So then the reviews will be coming out shortly. I would probably say 2 days from now. So we'll see the reviews, and then hopefully we'll get a date on when the voting starts from this town hall. As far as, in my opinion, what I think is going on with it, I think they're kind of waiting on some releases, specifically from the daedalus team and maybe the Roy team, to have some of those voting features in app, because they don't want to release this kind of half-baked, you know what I mean? So that's what's going on with that. I hope that helped you guys. That's a good question, man. Right at the start of the video, it's going to inform a lot of people, man. Thank you. Can't do it without good questions. Chris PW said, is there a community out there like us for ETH? I don't know, man. It's a good question. I'm sure back in 2014, 2015, 2016, there was a beautiful Ethereum community that was all friendly to each other. Until the money started getting involved, kind of like the stake pool game, Kandra, hello, man. Thanks for swinging by, man. I like the muzzle emoji there. What do you guys think of my background? I'm actually using my NVIDIA GPU the ray tracing CUDA cores in the GPU to blur my background. Looks pretty awesome, doesn't it? I really like it. It really just focuses, and I think I'm going to continue to use this. Shout out to Sebastian from Emergo. He actually kind of showed me this for the first time. Ram said, did you see IOG, or do you see IOG not being voted back in after this contract is done? No, I do not. I think even though Charles says the opposite, I think IOG is our overlords in this ecosystem still. I mean, you can see that by the fact that he's talking about raising K to 500 or to 1,000 before D equals 0, right? If IOG wasn't viewed as an overlord in the system, there would be a lot more people asking and saying, why are you guys going to increase K to 500 or 1,000 in 4 or 5 months' time before you hand over the keys, right? It's like right before you're handing over the keys, you're like, okay, I'm going to change the whole system, right? I think there'd be a lot of people completely against that, and I know there's some, but IOG is the overlord, so everyone kind of trusts their decisions and their decision making, So I don't think I see a Cardano where they're not voted in for the second contract. There's no way in hell. Sam Griffin said, if you're ever interested in learning Haskell, hit me up. I will, man. Have we talked about this before, Sam? DM me on Discord if you can. The link for the Discord server is down below. It's my little Cardano community. If you guys have any questions that aren't during AMAs, you can always ask them there. But yeah, just DM me on Discord and I will check that out. I need to learn to sit up straight during these AMAs. I'm going to get a hunchback by the time I'm done doing these. 52 weeks in, I'm going to be like, okay. Chris PW said, what is your view on the petition? Project Catalyst DC Fund missing an opportunity of a lifetime. I don't agree with it, Chris. So the proposal that he's talking about, I think it was the guy from Shopify. He's saying that only a few things are going to get through. He said like 7 or 8 actual projects are going to be voted in for Fund 2. And he said that's a huge misstep. We should fund a lot more projects. We have over 80 to 90 million ADA in this fund. So why aren't we using more of it? And I have the answer for that. The reason we're not using more of it, because Fund 2 is supposed to be an experiment. It's supposed to be the first ever fund, right? So they're not going to just use a large percentage of that fund. 5 is of 80%. I mean, what would that be? I mean, 7, 8, 9% around there, right? So you're not going to use 7 or 8, 9% on an experiment, right? So I think they were also worried that they weren't going to have all of the kind of features that they need to allow people to vote, right? I think they were worried that they weren't going to have locked voting. I think they were trying to make this like a small set group of people that are going for the funding. And then that's why it's delayed, right? Because they're waiting on some of those features. So if it was a huge misstep, I don't think so. I mean, Goguen not even out yet, right? We don't have the tools to build native assets on Cardano. A lot of the funding, and that's kind of why Fund 2 is a good thing in the way that we're holding off until we actually have the tools that we need to build these decentralized applications on top of Cardano, right? So why are we going to use 7 or 8% of our fund when we don't even have the tools that we need? We don't have the shovels that we need, right? But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. I don't think it was a huge misstep. There's always more time, And then also, you got to think about it this way. If the price goes up, not financial advice, if the price goes up, well, then think about what's going to happen, right? There's going to be more funds to go around and more projects will be funded. So why is it a misstep to not use 7 or 8% of the whole fund when 8 is only worth 10 cents, right? I don't think it was a misstep at all. When a delegator moves their stake from one pool to a different stake pool, does it cause 2 to 3 epoch break in any staking rewards for the delegator? It's a good question, Christopher. It does not. So you have these snapshots. I'm inverted, so I should do it like this. So this is the end of the snapshot right here. This feels so wrong using my left hand to show you guys the end of the snapshot. It's like I'm reading backwards. So this is the snapshot right here. So you're delegated to say Bloom right here, and you're moving to Bloom 2. So you redelegate right here, and then this is the snapshot date. So what's going to happen is you're in this period after the snapshot, you're still going to be earning rewards from Bloom, right? And then the next epoch, you're still going to be earning rewards. Or no, so the following epoch's when you start earning rewards for Bloom 2, right? And then after that, the rewards are calculated. And then after that, the rewards are paid. So you don't actually lose rewards from delegating to another pool. However, you're still paid the back rewards, so the backlog of rewards that you have from switching, right? From switching to a new pool. Because there's still like two snapshots behind you that you're still going to get paid for, right? So no, you don't lose any rewards. I hope that helps. George said, been playing around in DeFi for a few months now. Can't wait to see the form of decentralized finance will be running on Cardano's chain. Very excited for it. Me too, man. I've played around in DeFi a little bit, and I've spent, I wouldn't say like a lot of money, but more than I would like to in fees playing around with it, just because I do think decentralized finance is the future, and I think we're all heading towards that, but I really hope that with Cardano's native asset token, or tokens, that we will be able to do this with a fee structure that still incentivizes the people holding the network, but also is reasonable to the average person and also reasonable to those in third world countries, right? Because could you imagine trying to stake? I have such bad cultural reference, right? But can you imagine trying to stake, let's say, $80 in Africa, right? You have $80 in ADA, and you would like to stake it, but it costs $9 to stake it. That doesn't make sense. And then you have then the other side of that is who cares about 5% a year on $80? That's not the point. It should work for everyone. Dan said, thanks, Pay. No problem, man. I appreciate it. What's up, Christopher Berlin? What's up, man? Thanks for swinging by. I really appreciate it. Mike said, You said we can email you about running a stake pool for a fee, so some of us don't need to go and get set up and still run one. Do you have a link or something that we can get more info? I don't have any more info. It's just in that email. I talk to people on a person-by-person basis. Patrice said, "What is the big announcement?" I can give you a big announcement, but I have to say that the OG big announcement, I've actually decided to hold that one for a little bit, right? So there's some more discussion going on with the big announcement, but I can give you a big announcement anyway. I'm having Frederick Gergard, I'm sorry if I botched that name at all, on my podcast this Friday at 11:30 EST. It's going to be a live podcast at 11:30 EST with the CEO of the Cardano Foundation. And you guys know how my Cardano Aura podcast episodes, I like to give the viewer the ability to ask the person that's on, the guest, questions, right? But so because he is the CEO, he just became the CEO in the past month, his schedule is very, very busy. So the only time slot that they could get me was for 30 minutes long. So if you guys want to have a part in this podcast, what you need to do is click the link down below. It's a Reddit link. I can send it again real quick if that would help you. Let me go grab it real quick. And then I'll ask those questions during the podcast, right? So make sure you guys click on this link on Reddit. Please upvote this on Reddit. Reddit hates me. I'm just kidding. I love you, Reddit. So click that link right there. Ask your questions. And I will ask Frederick, the CEO of the Cardano Foundation, the same questions that you guys have. So please, I would really appreciate your support in asking him good questions. I always want to involve the audience. I think it's really important. One last thing that I need to say, please leave a like on this video. There's 90 people here. I really appreciate you all swinging by, but you're not liking the video. Do you hate this? Do you hate me? What's going on here, man? Leave a like, click that notification bell right down here, and it will help me out in that YouTube algorithm. That's me every day. I'm trying to, uploading a video on YouTube is like shooting into the dark, right? You're like, oh, maybe this one will catch the algorithm. Maybe this one will catch it. So by you guys clicking that like button and clicking that notification bell, it really does support my channel. And maybe it helps my aim a little bit, you know. Daniel said, I saw the amount you spent on fees on ETH. Shh. Those weren't just fees. It was also a bad trade, too. So it's a mix of a bunch of terrible things. Swoop said, can you talk about rewards once we start getting more transactions on the chain? I read somewhere that the rewards will get reduced once transactions pick up to constant. Okay, so it's a good question, Swoops. So the way Cardano was designed is you have this decay rate, and that's the decay rate in rewards, right? So the easiest thing to compare that to is Bitcoin, right? So you have Bitcoin, and you guys have heard of the halvening events. It's where one day you have a bunch of miners, a bunch of people that are holding up the network. You know, they're sorry about the dogs barking in the background. It's probably the mailman or something. I ordered an espresso machine today. I thought I was going to be sipping some. I ordered it yesterday, and it's going to be here today. I thought I was going to be sipping some fresh homemade espresso in front of you, but I can't. Okay, so back to rewards. Sorry about that. So you have this halvening event with Bitcoin where the miners are, say, earning 25 BTC per block. And then it's about every 4 years that's cut in half, right? It goes from 25 to 13 and a half. And then from 13 and a half down to a half another again, right? So Cardano, to get around this halvening event, this big event where everyone earns half the rewards, what they did is they actually modeled radioactive decay, which is about every 4 years. You're going to have half the rewards, right? So over time, like for example, today, you should have earned less rewards than yesterday if there wasn't the probability and the luck aspect to it, right? But consistently over time, you'll be earning less and less and less rewards. But as Goguen comes out, you'll earn more rewards as the transactions pick up, right? So that's kind of the incentive scheme behind Cardano. That's how the rewards will work. So for example, if you're earning 5.25% from staking right now, you'll earn half that 4 years from now. But that's just from staking. It's not from all of the transaction increases, right? And then the actual cost of each transaction right now, as you guys know, I would say it's about it's about 0.16 ADA to 0.22 ADA is the highest I've seen it. Actually, what's happening there is there's a difference it's variable, but at the same time that can be increased or decreased, right? So if the price of ADA goes up to $1 and we don't want to spend 20 cents on fees anymore, we can just lower that down, right? We can lower that exact fee number down, but it's there's this incentive scheme. It's very complex, so it does have to be taken into account how much stake pool operators are being paid, and then how much rewards you guys are earning, right? So I hope that helps, Swoops. George says, I agree with paying too much on fees and DeFi. Reminded me why I hate ETH so much on the main protocol. Yeah, I agree, man. It'd be beautiful if the fees were free. Daniel said, will you be doing an interview with Liquid Finance? Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about him lately. I've been trying to get him on. He's only available on the weekends, though, and my videos always suck if they're uploaded on the weekends, right? And we have 91 people here. 50 of you have hit the like, and there soon will be 40 more. But when I upload on Saturday or Sunday, the videos don't do too well. They don't get enough views, so they don't really get that. It's just like shooting in the dark, but it's pitch black on Saturdays, man. So he can only be available on weekends, so maybe I'll do like a pre-recorded and upload it during the week. We'll see. I do want to get him on. I have talked to him a couple times. So John Juan said, good evening from NL. What's NL, man? Thanks. I appreciate you swinging by. Richard says, hi, Pay. Will you make a Catalyst voting app video? How to register to vote? What QR code? Thanks. I will. The day that you can vote on app with Catalyst, I will make a custom video just for you, Richard, on how to do everything step by step, how to vote with multiple wallets, how to vote with every ADA you have. We're going to be voting on my proposal, the Cardano Aura proposal. So what did you guys think of that podcast on Saturday I did with Josh from Proof of Africa? I enjoyed it a lot. What did you guys think of it? Did you guys enjoy that video if you end up catching it? Christopher said, when do you think ADA will get listed on Coinbase? It's a good question. So one of my thoughts, so you have Charles saying K equals 500, K equals 1,000. I want K equals 1,000 before D equals 0. Well, maybe that's because he's got a Coinbase announcement hidden in his back pocket that he knows is going to increase the price a huge amount. Not financial advice for me. This is all speculation for entertainment purposes. So essentially, he's saying, oh, I want K to be equal to 1,000 when the saturation on K equals 1,000 is like 32 million ADA, right? So that's clearly not enough to fund people that want to build great infrastructure, right? It's just going to push fees lower and lower. And I think the only way to compensate for that would be a Coinbase listing and a Goguen release, so that's my thoughts. I do think the Coinbase announcement is going to be happening probably in the next few months. But at the same time, I don't know. I guess it's ease of use, right? I mean, you have other people that you wanted to get into ADA, and Coinbase is a very easy way to do it, but I don't like how they work with the government, and I don't like how they just send all that data over. It is going to increase the price, which is nice. But for example, is it going to be a pump and dump, or will we still sustain some value from it? Which I think we will. I think we're going to do a nice pump, and then we'll fall back back to a nice reasonable level, as most pumps do. Ali said, "Hi, love you from Iran. Why the price in the last month always getting down when ADA going to push to the moon? We sick of waiting. Maybe it's because it's too many ADA, I think." All right, Ali, you have to start looking at this in a different way, right? Like I said earlier, no financial advice. But if the price has fallen down to a lower rate than where you purchased it, and you have the money, you have the cash to burn, then you DCA, you invest over and over and over again the same amount of money at the same time every month, and you buy that. And what that does is it averages out your investment over time, right? So when the price falls and you still believe in the fundamentals and you still believe in the asset and you still believe in the mission of Cardano, and the price falls, then to me that sounds like a sale, right? So why is the price falling? Let's talk about that. It's because there's a lot of uncertainty going on right now. I mean, at the same time, you have the stock market falling down and down. I think the election's tomorrow in the United States. So the stock market's been falling because of the uncertainty. But at the same time, Bitcoin the past few weeks has almost had a decoupling from the stock market. It's been going up. So then what happens when Bitcoin goes up and people think, okay, maybe this is the great decoupling. We're finally going to go parabolic with Bitcoin. So you have all of these other people in the alternative assets. I hate calling them altcoins, but the other cryptocurrencies. What they want to do is they want to maximize their profit as well as anybody else, right? So they trade their ADA, their Ethereum, their Monero, whatever it may be. They trade that for Bitcoin, trying to ride it up, right? So as far as why has the price been going down, it's because Bitcoin's been rallying. And what happens when Bitcoin rallies? So it takes a little bit of time, but the altcoins usually consolidate. And that's from my entertainment perspective, not financial advice. But man, I wouldn't worry about price. I really wouldn't, unless you're looking to invest more. You can't get upset. If you do get upset, that's how you act emotionally and make bad decisions, like selling too early, selling too late, or buying too high. You got to be real careful. And I mean, there's just a lot of different bullish scenarios out there. There's a lot of different bearish scenarios out there, right? You just got to protect yourself and make sure you are safely invested and you're diverse, John said, Netherlands. Okay. Thanks, man. I appreciate you swinging by. I've never seen the abbreviation of the Netherlands. I'm not very cultured. John Hamilton, what's up, man? Thanks for swinging by this live stream today. I really appreciate it. Bloodsville. I have been using Polkadot to compare off ADA. It's so undervalued. Have you used dot staking just to see what others have? I have not. I have planned on buying some DOT. Is that what it's called? The token DOTs, to try it out. I do plan on doing that in the future. You say it's so undervalued, but I mean, let's look at CoinMarketCap, right? This is the reason I haven't bought any, is because I missed the big pump, right? If we look at CoinMarketCap, Polkadot is number 9, right? Even ahead of Cardano, right? So to me, it doesn't seem necessarily undervalued if it's above Cardano, right? I mean, maybe that's a biased perspective, but I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. That's why I don't have any DOT. Richard said, great pay. I didn't expect anything else from you. Yeah, that's kind of my model, man. Just releasing it as soon as it's released and try to keep it information packed. Hank said, who cares? What were you talking about, Hank? Fly Over Me said, I have a treasury idea. Is it plausible that we could help support the small staking pools by allocation a portion of the treasury each month until we can get them up and running fully? Fly Over Me, that sounds like a bit like the redistribution of the wealth in the ecosystem. So the way the treasury actually works is amount of the rewards from staking actually goes to the treasury I think it's every epoch. Yeah, and why wouldn't it be every epoch? So an amount from the rewards goes to, and the transaction fees goes to the treasury every epoch, right? So if you were going to give more rewards to stake pools, you couldn't just give it to the small staking pools. You would have to lower the amount that goes to the treasury, and that would in turn give bigger pools even more money. But as far as why, like, I don't think that it's a good idea just to allocate a small portion of the treasury to small pools. What if those small pools are just here for the short time? You know, what if, like, it's just, I don't know, does it make much sense? And how do you pick who gets the money and who doesn't, right? Because I mean, in a way, that's giving a greater advantage to, I don't know, but we'll get off that topic. Let Catalyst begin, but it's not like I'm against the small pools. You know, I do think that we need to see an increase in K, but do I think it should be 500 at this current price? I do not, not in any way. Christopher said, what exchange does everyone think is the best to purchase ADA before transferring to Daedalus? I mistakenly used Kraken only to find out there's a high fee to transfer out. I use Binance. If Binance is available in the United States, Binance.us is pretty low fees. The withdrawal rate, I think, is like 1 ADA. And you can buy ADA directly with a debit card or a bank account. So you can just withdraw it for 1 ADA. So Thomas Baker said, can you talk about Sybil attacks? Does the number of stake pools figure into this? How does Cardano protect against these attacks? So the way Cardano protects, so let's first talk about what a Sybil attack is, right? A Sybil attack is when one entity owns 51% of the stake in the network, right? So it's on you as delegates, really more than anything else in the ecosystem, to not delegate to one entity that has over 51% of the entire stake in the network, right? What Cardano does to prevent these Sybil attacks is they have this parameter called A naught. And this parameter called A naught is currently set at 0.3. And what 0.3 does is it incentivizes people to pledge to their stake pool, right? So I'm sure you guys have seen the pledge values on stake pools. For example, Bloom has a 2.5 million pledge to secure the network from Sybil attacks. What we do is you pledge that, and that stops you from creating another pool unless you have the ADA for it, because that incentive isn't high enough, right? So the A naught is supposed to incentivize you to pledge all of your funds into one pool, so then that you don't create multiple, right? So like multiple in the sense of like, oh, I'm going to create 10 pools, all with a 0 pledge, all with a 0% fee, all with the minimum cost per epoch to suck up 51% of the stake in the network, so then the network's mine, right? So that's what a Sybil attack is, right? So pledge is the protector against Sybil attacks because it's supposed to incentivize you to pledge more to one or maybe a few pools to stay competitive within the ecosystem. So that's how pledge works, and that's what A naught is, and that's what a Sybil attack is. I hope that helps. Someone said zoom out. This is 1080p, man. There's no zooming in or out. I'm leaning forward to talk in the mic with my hunchback ass. Okay, so Thomas said, only bad thing about Voyager. Oh, so that's about an exchange. I've never heard of that exchange. Patrice said, have you ever heard any plan for IOHK to work with any countries on a central bank digital currency based on Cardano? I haven't heard them sign or heard them say that they're actually for sure going to do that, but I can swear I've heard some memorandums of understanding, so. Thank you just for you. I appreciate that. I'll get back to that email later tonight. Muin says Exodus wallet. I didn't know you could buy from the Exodus wallet. That's interesting. Daniel A said, what do you think of Ergo? I plan on making a video on it, but I don't have enough information to tell you what I think of it. But I do think it's pretty cool to see kind of Ergo practicing over there, so. And I know that they use the same UTXO model as Cardano, which, Cardano is my lady. I'm in gains with Polkadot, but I don't like where they are or what they have. It's so underdeveloped. I don't know why it has the value. ADA is way better. Just try DOT and compare. I'll check that out, man. Yeah, that's my thoughts. I know DOT's worth a lot more. They kind of came out of nowhere, whereas I saw ADA was undervalued, and I've been here for years buying it, right? So it's very hard for me to branch out into a different currency, right? Because I've been here for years. I've done all the research. I know a lot about this, so there's a big kind of learning curve for me moving into a different currency, Monica Wiley said 1 ADA to withdraw. Yeah, that's on KuCoin. Okay, yeah, on Binance it's 1 as well. Yeah, I don't mind 1 ADA to withdraw. It's not too bad. You gotta stay hydrated. Christopher said, thanks everyone for the answers and input to my question. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Golden says, Binance Bridge is the best way to get ADA. That's interesting. You should come to the Discord and talk a little bit more about that. I don't know what the Binance Bridge is. Do you mean the Binance chain? You talked about it a little bit more. Ali said, love you. Keep up the good work. Thanks for your answer. No problem, man. Love you too. You just have an onboard ramp like X, Y, and Z, whatever works for you. Binance Bridge is basically Uniswap on the Binance Smart Chain, but it lets you swap DOT, BAND, XRP, DAI, BUSD, and more. And ADA, of course. It's really interesting. Maybe it's nice to have a centralized, decentralized exchange to be able to do that, especially, if you're trying to remain anonymous, I went to a Cardano developers and it said, admins restricted you from commenting. I even opened a new account to test and see the same thing. There may be a rule in there where it says you can't message for the first 10 minutes or something. If that's the case, or it may be a couple hours from now. If you still can't message on there for whatever reason, DM me on Discord and I'll get it worked out for you, man. I know the guys that run that channel and the mods, so I can help you get in there if you need to. Hank said, I apologize. I should complete my sentences, but texting sucks. Yeah, texting on mobile is the worst. You got to use ASDF, man. You got to use the home row keys. Yeah, I can't stand messaging on mobile now, especially after I do most of my work on the computer. It's just like, ugh. It hurt. Like I'm quick at it. I grew up with a touchscreen phone. So I'm quick. I just hate it. It just seems so inefficient. It's like a step back. Yeah, when I went to transfer to Daedalus, the fee was about 500 ADA. Yeah, whatever exchange that is, get off of it, man. That's what you need to spend to set up a stake pool. It's 500 ADA, It's the registration fee for registering a pool to the blockchain. It's 500 ADA. So that's pretty expensive. They're using that ADA to register their pools for the exchange. Richard said, do you know if unstoppable domains will work with Cardano in the future? I don't know what unstoppable domains are. John Doe, this is a good question. He said, are ADA dApps going to have their own MetaMask? They already do. I made a video on that. It's called Yoroi, right? Think about what Yoroi is. It's a lightweight browser that's built in Chrome. I honestly think that Emergo was thinking, they're just literally looking at Ethereum and seeing what runs that. Yoroi is MetaMask for Cardano, right? So yeah, we are going to have a MetaMask and it's going to be awesome. People get on me. They're like, why do you give Yoroi so much credit? Like they're always saying, oh, there's so much Yoroi. Yoroi's the shit, man. Yoroi's amazing. It's the best wallet currently. It's lightweight. It's on mobile. Anyone can download it. It's quick. It's on desktop. It's simple. You cannot beat Yoroi right now. And it's going to be the new MetaMask. And you're going to be able to vote from it. It's just, Uroy's it right now. Daedalus has a lot of catching up to do in terms of a lot of things, right? I mean, even some of the more advanced features, Uroy is miles ahead on advanced features, right? I mean, with Daedalus, you can't even claim your rewards, right? With Daedalus, your rewards are paid to your staking address, and they don't even let you know that you have a staking address, right? At least with Uroy, you see the actual functionality of the blockchain, and you have to claim your rewards from the staking address. Like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Daedalus. I got to admit. But thanks. Good question. SSD size. Okay. I think that was replying to something else. Bloodsville said, "Lol, imagine when there weren't any smartphone. Ha ha ha, that was hard." Yeah, I wasn't really, I mean, I was around for it, but I was too young to have one, or to need one, I guess you would say. I pay, just joining. I delegated to your stake pool. When Bloom 1 becomes saturated, do I have to move my ADA? So Keen, I actually know a couple of my partners that actually delegate to Bloom and Bloom 2. So I've set up this system to where if Bloom were to become saturated, they can move ADA out so you can stay there, right? That's one of the things that we offer at Bloom. It's awesome. But if both pools were to become saturated, there's no moving, we would create Bloom 3. So don't worry, man. Just feel free to contact me if we are saturated and you have any questions. But don't just panic, right? You're not going to lose any rewards unless the pool's saturated on the snapshot marker, which happens every 5 days, right? So say we were to get saturated today, the epoch switched a day ago. So that means we have 4 days to deal with the saturation without losing any of your precious rewards. So just contact me if you're ever worried. If you have any uncertainty, any doubt, just feel free to get a hold of me, and we can fix it, and then I can tell you kind of where to go from there, But thank you for your support, man. It means the most. John Doe said, "Oh, I thought Uroy was only on the phone." No, it's actually a desktop browser. Take a look at this. Hold on. And then I also do have a sponsor for this video because we have reached. Okay. So this is Uroy right here. So if you can see it in the top right-hand corner, you click that little Uroy and you have a wallet in the browser in Chrome and Brave. It's exactly like MetaMask, right? But it also has a Uroy mobile app. It's pretty sweet. But I did want to take a minute to thank our sponsor for this AMA. It's Alien Stake Pool. This is the logo they had me show you guys, Alien Stake Pool. It's the first link down below. So big shout out to them. As you guys know, YouTube does not pay me anything for these. So Alien Stake Pool is a big support to this live stream. So thank you guys. But we can go back to some questions. But yeah, you're always pretty awesome. Hold on, let me hide. I was going to show you, but I was worried about showing my balances. So I'll switch back to it and show you what it looks like. It's the shit, man. It really is. All right. I'm switching back to it. I'm going to adjust both. Okay, so this is Uroy. You click this little thing, it comes up. You can have multiple different wallets in it, just like MetaMask. And then you can also have Ergo. They added an Ergo function to it. I like Uroy. Maybe I'm shilling for him a little bit, but that's where I get, if I'm introducing someone to Cardano, right? Because adoption's important. If I'm introducing to someone to Cardano and I show them Uroy, I have them download Uroy, that says something about Uroy, right? It shows how good it is, how easy it is to use, and how it's the one, Yeah, Motivation, he said, dashboard and UI is beautiful. Breakdown rewards for every epoch. Yeah, Sebastian and the team back over there are awesome. And they weren't even paid to do it. That's the funniest part. Daedalus also requires certain CPU optimizations that most CPUs older than about 2008 won't work. I didn't know that. Yeah, I have a pretty new CPU, so. John Quest said, Big Pay, just want to say thanks for all your help answering questions. I've asked quite a few on your Discord along with recently shooting an email. No problem, John. I'm glad that I can help you. I really do try to take out a pretty big portion of my day trying to help out the community, just answering emails, answering questions on Discord, doing these AMAs and making educational content. So I'm glad that you see that I'm out here answering questions all the time, and I really hope that does help and increases your knowledge, and what's cool is when I teach people this stuff, I see them in the Discord teaching each other, so it's nice. It's going to be this cascading effect of knowledge. It's pretty cheesy, but it's real, How does Yoroi sync with Brave? So there's actually no sync on Yoroi. So when you use Yoroi, you're actually using servers somewhere else that are already synced and up to date for you, right? So they don't have access to your secret keys or anything, but they still do sync the entire node for you. If you've used Bitcoin before, it's a good comparison. It's kind of like the Electrum wallet, where it's not a full node, but at the same time, you can still use it as if it were, right? Also, although Daedalus has hardware support coming soon, I'm inclined to create another wallet and store it there. See, it's another thing. Yoroi is always faster, and maybe it's because it's built in Rust, but it has Ledger support, it has Trezor support. They're always ahead of the game. Thomas said, great question. I did not know that and was wondering myself. What was the saturation question? I forget. John Quest said, question for you, Peyton. How do you store your own ADA? Do you have multiple hardware wallet addresses? Is it on the same cold storage, but multiple recovery addresses and private keys? So I do have the majority of my ADA on a hardware wallet, but I do have a couple different wallets, right? Because I am running a company on top of the blockchain, right? I mean, I have two businesses now. I have Bloom, and then I have the one for this YouTube channel, and what will be the one for the Cardano AMA podcast. You have to track all of your taxes and your funds, you have to split the wallets up, and I don't want to spend like $300 buying a bunch of these ledgers, I will for Bloom, right, when they add the ability to pledge from a hardware wallet. So I will spend a few $100s on ledgers for Bloom, but for myself, I just keep them in regular wallets, whether they're in Daedalus or Yoroi. Regular wallets are secure. You have this long 24 seed phrase, so the only way that anyone's going to steal your ADA is if you have a keylogger on your computer to either get your spending password or to see the recovery phrase, right? So if you generate it on a completely clean computer and write that down in pen, it's safe. I mean, you can just delete it off the computer and call it a paper wallet if you like, no advice on how to hold your funds. I don't want to be liable for your mistakes, but that's how I do things. And just make sure you're careful and you're on a clean computer. Golden CD said, "How have you been able to balance school and working with Cardano?" Not very well. Not very well. Cardano gets my time. How are you? Oh, I already read that one. Oopsies. Okay, so Thomas said, does downloading Daedalus do anything for the network, or is it a mute point? It's a good question, man. So I do know that it's like essentially Daedalus. So Daedalus is a full node, right? It's still, it's verifying other transactions, but I don't know. I'll just have to be honest and say I don't know. I don't know if it's beneficial for you to run a full node at your home. I don't know if it's a mute node or if it's actually doing some sort of verification, because if my stake pool mints a block, there has to be other nodes that see that block and validate it, right? They say, okay, this guy's good. He's not forking the chain. He's not doing a bunch of BS, right? This guy's good. So I'm not sure if the relays or the full nodes, whatever you'd like to call them, that Daedalus is a part of that validation process, or if it's not, right? Because often Daedalus wallets are only open for 10 minutes or a short amount of time. So it'd be weird for me to think that they would use the Daedalus as a validation node unless it's just beneficial during the time that its wallet's on, and then when it's cut off, it doesn't have any effect, That's a good question, man. If you figure that out somewhere else, you better let me know. John Quest said, your answers are helping me sort out whether I run a stake pool or not. Yeah, for sure, man. It's also important to keep into account that there's going to be a lot of people are complaining about the current incentive structure, the K value, everything. But keep in mind, I try to have an optimistic view about these things because we have Goguen coming. So that's another way that stake pools can earn more money through either services, through hosting, like doing other processes for other native assets on top of Cardano. So there's going to be multiple revenue streams for stake pool operators, right? And I mean, in time, I do feel like the price is going to go up, right? So if the price goes up, some of the incentives that are already going out. So when the price goes up, you can increase K. You can do a lot more with a lot less, right? So I am very optimistic. And if you're here for the long run, man, I wouldn't say it's a terrible idea. Mach 2 said, what's your free time look like? Hobbies. Not allowed to say anything to do with computers. That's what's funny, man. So my main hobby before doing this stuff was video games, right? I was a video game guy. I hosted servers in the past. What got me into tech was video games, right? What is the fastest way I can run my video game? What's the way I can make it look best? What's the way I can optimize this? That was my thing, right? But as soon as I found about cryptocurrency, it kind of like, it itches some of the same things, right? It itches like game theory. It itches the like efficiency and optimization. Like, I don't know. There's something about cryptocurrency that like very much ties in to my history of video gaming, right? There's just something that clicks in my brain with it. But you said don't mention computer stuff. So I honestly don't play much video games anymore. I'll play them probably once a month. And that's, I mean, that's really as much as it is, you know, once a month, quick couple hours, you know, I just don't really have the time anymore. But my other hobbies, I actually do have a lot of hobbies. I love mushrooms, man. I like the outdoors a lot. Like, I'm young and I've always been, kind of on the lower end of the income spectrum. So I've never had, the money to actually do some of the stuff like that I wanted to do, like go hunting, for example. So this year I'm going to try to go hunting. I'm going to try to get a deer and try to live off of what I've harvested. You know, something about meat that's not processed and it's not sold from the store is very enticing to me. Also, getting my own meat's very enticing to me. Foraging my own mushrooms is very enticing to me. That's one of my hobbies. Especially in the spring, I look for mushrooms a lot. I like to get oysters. I like to get morels. I love lion's mane. I've actually grown lion's mane before. I've grown oysters before. That's why it's funny to me to see Charles Hoskinson talking about having a mycologist come to his farm and do, or I guess you can call it the ranch, come to his ranch and grow lion's mane and grow oysters. Because I was thinking in my head, like, fly me out there. I'll grow some mushrooms for you, man. That'd be an awesome time. So other hobbies, I mean, you can kind of lump this into one, but I really love hiking. I love being at the ocean. You know, it's really, besides cryptocurrency and computers and tech, it's really like outdoors stuff like mushrooms, hunting, hiking, just fishing. Fishing's on the lower end for sure, right? But yeah, just really like outdoorsy stuff, you know? But that's a good question, man. I appreciate you asking about my free time. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's nice to not talk about Cardano for 1 second. Just for you said, love the hard work. No problem. I want to say something to you guys. There's 120 people here on Monday at 4 p.m. I appreciate it. It means so much. If you guys are enjoying this so far, please leave a like on this and click that notification bell. You guys have been given a lot of questions today, like a lot of good ones. So I think this video is going to do really well, and the people that are watching it afterwards are really going to enjoy it. And it's for one reason, right? It's because of the good questions that you guys have been asking, right? Without good questions, there can't be a good video. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Hank said, I thought Daedalus was used like a relay node. Daedalus is its own node. It's its own full node. You can consider that a relay node, and you could connect to it if you had the port forwarded, I'm sure. So yeah, you could use it like a relay node. I wouldn't use one as a relay for your stake pool, but Monica said, Thanks for helping me last month on getting my questions answered. Been staking with Bloom after the help. It is now at 79.25% saturation. Should we move to Bloom 2? No. I think, so right now, this is kind of my goal in the future, is to move towards the same amount of ADA in both pools, or if we move to 3 pools, having the same amount of ADA in 3 pools, because I don't want to have to worry about people having to move, right? I want to give you guys the ability to set and forget, right? But as K increases, we might not always have that option, but 70, 80, even 90% is actually good in terms of rewards. You make more ADA for the stake pool being closer to saturation up until about 95%. So I wouldn't say move. And I said this earlier, but we have time to deal with saturation if it were to happen before you actually lose rewards. So if you like the pool that you're in, just stay. That's what I'm trying to offer you guys, is the ability to stay in the pool that you like. Okay. Cootie said, hey there, man. Longtime staker on Bloom 2. Here, Richard said magic mushrooms. Yeah, I don't have any data on magic mushrooms, man. You'll have to ask John Hopkins about that. Hank said, I love mushrooms, bro. Microdosing all the time. That's pretty cool, Hank. Hope you're microdosing lion's mane. We hunt these things called morel in springtime and WV. We call them molly moochers. I've never heard the name molly moochers for them, but man, do morels taste good. I love morels. Just pan frying them up. I honestly didn't find any this year. I mean, I probably spent... Hold on. I'm going to let my cat out. She's freaking out. I wonder if it'll... Yeah, look at it. It focuses on my chair when I leave. That's funny. Hey, I'm doing a live stream. I'll be done soon. Are you leaving? Do you have to work? Okay, I'll be done before then. Sorry about that. I had my cat locked in here. Oh, I don't need headphones. I'm talking to myself. Yeah, I had my cat locked in here, and she starts meowing. She was sleeping, so she wanted to get out of here. John Doe, wonderful question. Picked up a Cardano shirt. Thanks again. Hey, thank you, Carlos. I really appreciate that. Hank said edible shrooms, medicinal shrooms, and spiritual shrooms. You'd love it out here on the west coast of Canada. Yeah, we don't really have in Ohio any of those spiritual boys around here. It's pretty. I mean, we do, but they're not very common. Ryan said, "Remember telling you in the first ever live stream not to cut your hair. I'm glad you haven't. I did cut it a bit. I mean, look at it. Like if you remember, it was. I mean, when I first started making these videos, it was past my nipples. So it is cut, but it's staying long. Don't worry. I haven't heard the Hodl Gang song. Send it to me in the Discord, and I'll check it out afterwards, man. Once Cardano matures and is participated by many different products, it's a no-brainer. Once 5,000 pools are set up, that's it, right? No more opportunity to run a pool after those 10,000. I have no idea, man. I mean, we're currently at like 12 or 1,300 pools right now, so scaling to 5,000 and 10,000 is going to be pretty crazy, Crypto Learner said, when DeFi on Cardano? I would probably say next year, man. Christopher said, awesome, man. My son grew all those mushrooms. Growing mushrooms is a really rewarding thing. Growing lion's mane and cooking it for yourself or making supplements with it or adding it to smoothies and getting that neurogenesis afterwards. Like it's a really rewarding thing. It definitely keeps you happy. So I will, man. Teresa or Maria. So I know your username, Maria. Thanks for swinging by. I really appreciate it. You said, what was your first computer? My first computer I actually built myself when I was 16. I saved up working a summer job at $8 an hour, minimum wage. I saved up for more than a summer, really. It was like 6, 7, 8 months, and I bought all used parts from Craigslist. I built it pretty cheap. I got some good deals. I had a 4700K and a 960. A NVIDIA 960. That was my first computer. I didn't have an SSD in it, hard drive. But yeah, man, it was actually in a mini ITX case. It was a really, I missed that computer. I sold all the parts, and upgraded to the computer that I have now. But in that little mini ITX case, I mined the hell out of some Ether and some RVN and really all of the mining that I did. I actually traded for Cardano in 2017 or for ADA, so that first computer paid itself off and bought my next computer, I think in 2018. So that was a good question, Maria, though. I really appreciate it. Richard said, I tried to watch Josh POA video. It is great. I'm halfway now. Hope you'll get a better internet connection. Yeah, man, and that's why I don't blame him for that. But I mean, he was so inspiring. It was really nice to do that podcast with him, and I would love to have him on for the future. And if that proposal doesn't get funded through this time, we really got to have him on again and get the next one funded. Because I would love to see what comes of that. I think it's a really great initiative. Fly Over Me said, with all of the multiple revenue sources coming for pool operators with Goguen, I am assuming that the stakers will see more revenue as well. That's true. I want to say, so don't take this with a grain of salt. This needs more research, because some things I learned, I would say like 6 to 8 months to a year ago. So sometimes they're a little fuzzy. So I'm going to say this, take it with a grain of salt. But if you delegate to a pool that does different currencies, I think you get paid a rate for those currencies if the coin allows that, right? But also transactions, right? You'll get paid more ADA in transaction fees as Goguen comes out, right? Because when you have more transactions coming, you're going to get paid more for those transactions for not only stake pool operators, but also for delegates. Alexander said, when do you think we'll see traction for DeFi or other similar projects on ADA? I think as soon as they're able to be built. I mean, I'm honestly thinking that within the first month of native asset tokens and all of the tools that you need to build a decentralized finance application, we'll have it. There's going to be someone out there with a shovel to build it. Or to dig it, I guess you would say. Dan said, I found 100. Use a mesh bag next time so the spores fall and repopulate next year. That's awesome, man. I'm jealous. Yeah, this year was a dry year for me. It was really sad. Fly Over Me said, chaga mushroom. I have never tried chaga. Hank said, on lion's mane, among others too. Yeah, lion's mane, extracted from the fruit body, is really one of the best supplements I've ever tried besides magnesium. Magnesium, lion's mane, vitamin C are really big ones for me. Mach 2 said, cheers, Pay. It's always good to be outside, too. Okay, sorry, I read the following question after that. I thought it was funny. Cheers, Pay. Always good to be outside. Yeah, it is, man. It's really important. And we're heading to a winter in Ohio, as we do every year and as we have throughout history. I hate winters. And there's something about being outside. Maybe it's just as simple as the vitamin C, or maybe some of the essential oils that the trees give off. There's something about nature that gives me a better outlook and a better sense of well-being in general. And I notice that when I don't go outside, I don't spend time, like, I don't know, something's just off, and I get the same thing in winter, right? Because when it's wintertime, there's no incentive to go outside. There's no beautiful sunshine or anything. It's just death, The only reason to go outside in the winter is hunting. So yeah, that's what I do plan on moving away from Ohio to somewhere more warm, to somewhere where I don't have to deal with winters. Because I'm one of those people that I go into I would say a moody state in the wintertime just because of the lack of sun. But I have started supplementing vitamin C, so maybe that'll help. Not vitamin C, vitamin D. That's the 3 things I take: magnesium, vitamin D, and lion's mane. Tony Cannoli, great question. He said, tits or ass? Ass. Monica said, I must not be in the cool kids on growing mushrooms. Even Charles Hoskinson is growing own. He's copying me, man. And he's having somebody else do it for him. He's not in the same league. He might have this cryptocurrency thing down, but I'll be the mushroom man, right? Monica said, oh, I already read that one. I always do that. Eugene said, hello there. I have a question. I would like to know if from a dev perspective, the Cardano is not moving too slow. I don't have a good enough perspective to tell you whether or not we're moving too slow or too fast, right? I think that it's important to do things right, you know. Um, I think doing things right is the academic peer review way, right? Because even though it's a little slow, you know, you have a lot of these retail investors wanting to get into this cryptocurrency thing, and they have no idea where to do it. But they have this old system, and that system that everyone loves is called academic peer review process, right? So you have, even though it's slow, you have IOHK or IOG being able to say, okay, we've written papers on this. We know you're suspect, but we've made our own DeFi platform, and it's got academic peer-reviewed papers written on it, and then the proof of stake, the decentralization, the Ouroboros aspect of it, we got a paper on that too. You know, you guys can have your scientists and your researchers take a look at it if you're worried about things like security. You know, they've already been reviewed by conferences that haven't or that aren't about cryptocurrency, right? So as far as if we're moving too slow, I've got no idea, man. Maybe we are, you know, but at least we're doing it the right way. And these papers will definitely have some citations in the future, and there will be something that comes of this. John Doe said, were you into yield farming? I was not. You seen Liquidity Protocol? Yep. I'm planning on having him on a podcast. Just been working on the scheduling. Eugene said, when pools are selling the rewards, if there's not demand, the price of ADA is going to go down. Yes, if pools are selling their rewards to make the pool keep going, that will happen, right? But I mean, if there's new stuff coming, then I don't think that's gonna be the case. Anthony said, not going outside throws off your how do we say cardiac rhythm? I'm so stupid. Your circadian rhythm. Flavio said, high pay. Or yeah, that is true, Anthony. Maybe that's why I feel so off. Flavio said, high pay. How long does it take for the rewards to show up after an epoch ends? I want to say 15 days, 15 to 20 days. So you have a snapshot here. You don't make blocks for this epoch, right? So then I'm doing this backwards. Oh, God, I hate the inverted camera. Okay, so snapshot here, right? And then you have rewards. Okay, snapshot here. No blocks until the next epoch right here. Blocks happen this epoch, right? Then rewards are calculated, and then the following epoch rewards are paid. So that would be 15 to 20 days, depending on when you delegate in that epoch. Sorry for the terrible example. I just need to memorize that, you know? I shouldn't have to make examples in my head. I'm asked that every stream. It's nothing on you. That's a good question. It's just, I need to remember. Hank said, Cardano is growing a mushroom mycelium network. Yeah, you're right, man. I actually referenced that back in the ITN days. Someone had a nice graph that showed all of the nodes in the incentivized testnet connecting, and something about it looked organic, right? It reminded me of mycelia growing through a network, you know? But yeah, heavy mushroom vibes from Cardano. That's why Ben Gortzel's into this. King Labala said, never grown mushrooms. Which variety would be good to try in South Florida? Growing them outside in South Florida, I would say, I don't know. I know that definitely during the wintertime, you'll be able to grow some oysters outside. Oysters are really easy to grow. As far as starting to growing something, I think oyster mushrooms are the easiest to grow. And you may be able to do that in the wintertime in South Florida. As far as growing inside, you can pretty much grow every mushroom there is inside pretty easily. You just need a couple things like some light fixtures and kind of a way to keep a steady temp, you know, but you'll be able to do that. The easiest ones to start with, I would say, are oyster mushrooms, and they taste damn good. Bob Zebra said, what are your thoughts? Oh, I skipped one. Hey, DJRT, thanks for swinging by the live stream today, man. I really appreciate it. I'm happy you could make it. Big Pay said, have you heard anything about the Cardano developers portal? I saw that they released the portal, but I haven't heard anything from the portal. Have you? Bob Zebra said, what are your thoughts on Cardano compared to other new DeFi platforms like Radix or DLT or Dfinity? Well, I don't think you can really compare Cardano to a DeFi platform until we have some native asset tokens or ways to do DeFi, you know. So I don't really have any thoughts on that question. Christopher said snowboarding, ice fishing. I think I am going to go ice fishing this year. Okay, you're talking about reasons to go outside. Yeah, I guess you're right. You know, once you get used to the cold, you can do those, but you just don't have the same benefits, I would say, for going outside for the same amount of time in the winter. And maybe it's because you're just bundled up and you're not getting much that sun. And maybe the vitamin D will fix it, you know. Eugene said, thanks for your answers, Pay. No problem, man. Thanks for swinging by. I appreciate it. How do you see Singularity Net being implemented for stake pool operators? I have no idea, man. That's a complex question. Yeah, that's a Ben Gortzel question right there. Maybe we can ask him on the Cardano Aura. Christopher said snowmobiling, snowshoe hiking. Yep, I've heard of the Bitcoin wallet called Mycelium. Yeah, you used to actually be able to buy. I think you still can. Like, it's essentially, if you want to like trade Bitcoin with someone, you can locally do that on the on Mycelium. It's not like local Bitcoins where you still have to do the KYC. Is anyone else aware of the Treasury choosing XLM or XRP to run the digital dollar for the US? Vice versa for the UK and Canada. Too bad it wasn't Cardano. I have not heard about that, Christopher. Send a link in the chat. Chisel said, do you think it matters for Cardano? Oh, okay. You said Trump or Biden. I'm not going to answer that question. And do you think if it matters for Cardano? I don't think it does. Unless one of those presidents were going to, do some regulations that would really inhibit the growth, but I don't know. I know Trump said that he doesn't like it. I haven't really heard of Biden's thoughts on it. Darko, thanks for coming by, Darko. I really appreciate it. It's nice to see you again, man. He said, if I spin up a stake pool, I will call it Shroom Pool to honor you. Thank you. That means so much to me, man. I'll even give you a free shout out. Always a Latte said, hey, Pay, speaking of Ben Gortzel, have you bought any AGI? I haven't. What about Ergo? I haven't. I picked up some recently. It's a big barrier for me to get into another cryptocurrency. Adi said, hello from the Philippines. What's up, Adi? I really appreciate it. It means a lot for you swinging by. Rob Gregg said, thoughts on K being 1,000. I think, all right. So if you guys want this to turn into a K discussion, let's type K in the chat. Because this is going to be probably a 10 or 15 minute talk if we start talking about thoughts on K being 1,000. Because we can talk about it. I'm not against giving out my opinion, but I talk about it a lot. So I'm going to ask you guys first if you're interested in that, and then I'll read a couple other questions while we wait for the delay to catch up. Carlos said, look at the Fed now. Digital dollar come in 2023. It could, man. Thomas Baker said, digital dollar will be its own tech. No way they use XRP, in my honest opinion. Yeah, see, the only news I've heard about the U.S. government actually using a digital dollar is them giving MIT the task to create one or to do research on a federal cryptocurrency. So that's the only thing I've seen. So we have K, and I should probably say these two Ks fast. KK, and then K. Yes, K. Okay. So the reason Rob Gregg said thoughts on K being 1,000 is because Charles Hoskinson, and really the last two things he did. So first we had the Goguen thing on Thursday. He did a live stream and said his thoughts on the Goguen announcements. And in that live stream, he said that he would like to see K be 500 now and K equal to 1,000 as soon as possible. So that's where Rob got that question. And then on Friday, he said it again. He said but he added a little bit of a distinction there that really got me thinking, right? So he said K, he would like to see K equals 500 now, which I already said, but he would like to see K equals 500 by D equals 0, right? So we have this D parameter in Cardano, and that's decentralization. So you have 50% of the blocks being made by stake pools, 50% of the blocks being made by IOHK with their federated nodes. I know I speak like in things that I've already said, but it's important for people that are just tuning in, so I apologize about that. So he stated that when the D parameter equals 0, that he would like K to be 1000 before that, right? So then we have this decrement, and it's been 0.025 for a long time now. So we've been going down slowly and slowly and slowly to D equals 0. And then you have this K parameter. And K is the optimum number of pools within Cardano. And what K determines is the saturation point for a stake pool. So if you have a stake pool and K equals 150, the max amount of ADA you can have in that pool before you start losing your rewards is around 210, 211 million. So as you increase K, you lower the saturation value, right? And philosophically, when this was released and these parameters were released, they stated that K is equal to 150 based on the price. And the price at that time was about 8.5 cents, right? So they said that we can feasibly sustain about 150 pools at 8.5 cents, right? So I think last time I checked, we're around 10 cents. We've been fluctuating between 9 and 11 for a long time. So then at the same time, you have Charles stating that he would like to see K 500 immediately, and he would like to see K equals 1000 by D equals 0. So my current math, I would say D equals 0 is about 4 or 5 months away, right? So if you think about the number in proportion to price, right? So 8.5 cents to 150. So if that number stays the same, not that number, but the proportion, right? That means that you would need to see, for K to equal 1000, you would need to see, based on their original proportion from price relative to K, you would need to see the price of ADA be worth about, off the top of my head, this is not going to be a perfect calculation, about 80 to 90 cents per ADA for us to have K equals 1000. And the stake pools earn the same amount, right, at saturation. So my thoughts on if that's a good idea if we don't reach that price. I personally think that's a terrible idea. And then obviously the first thing that people are going to assume is that I'm saying that because I'm an evil, terrible, big stake pool operator that I want everyone else to bleed their stake pool until they close down. That's not the case, right? But at the same time, we have to think, and this is the other end of it, right? I mean, maybe there is a further end that is big, scary stake pool. I want K to equal 10, and I want to own all of them. But somewhere in the middle there is an equilibrium that is, you need to have hobby stake pools and businesses work in tangent, right? There needs to be enough incentive to incentivize good people, right? People that have enough time to actually spend learning all of this stuff, because this is pretty complicated, right? Setting up a stake pool isn't the hardest thing in the world, but it is complex and it does take a lot of damn time if you want to be a good operator that is for the health of the Cardano ecosystem and not for your own financial gain. That takes a lot of time, right? So you have, hundreds of hours of time investment, maybe even 1,000 doing that. And then you have infrastructure, right? You have the actual servers that Cardano's run on, right? You have, whether they're virtual private servers or you have bare metal servers at home. So there has to be a K value that supports both bare metal servers, right? Servers that cost hundreds of dollars up front. You have to pay for a fiber connection. Maybe you even have to pay to run a fiber line out to your house if you want a stake pool at home. And it also should be able to support businesses that are running stake pools that support multiple people, right? Multiple people behind a business, right? If we increase K to 500 or to 1,000 right this second at this current price point, we are moving away from good infrastructure, right? We're moving away from bare metal servers. We're moving away from expensive dedicated servers on VPSs towards cheap nodes. That's how it is at this current price. We're going to move towards cheap nodes, and then on top of the cheap nodes, to lower costs even more, you're going to have this race to the bottom scenario that's already happening, right? You have a bunch of stake pools because the market, it's simple supply and demand. There's 1,300 stake pools, and really only about 300 of them can actually turn a profit off the top of my head. So what you have is this constant race to the bottom scenario to just get the delegation at 0%, right? And it's already pretty bad. I don't think 0% pools are good for the ecosystem. They're not making enough money to support their infrastructure to have good nodes. And we've always said that we want Cardano to be the next financial infrastructure, right? So if we want Cardano to be the next financial infrastructure, then why are we talking about K equals 500 and K equals 1000, lowering the price of each node, making all staple operators lower their costs to make small returns when they're not even being paid for their time? And so it's easy for me to say all this without showing you guys some numbers, but let's start looking at some numbers. I hope that makes sense to you guys. I'm not out to get anybody. I want K to be increased, but we need to look at the numbers and we need to talk about sustainability, right? Because we could see ADA at 5 cents again, right? We could see ADA at 20 cents. You never know what's going to happen, but it's always good to be conservative, right? You need to have people, right? Educated people and people that know what they're doing and people that can spend enough money to operate the infrastructure that Cardano is built on, right? So raising it too early, you're going to get rid of the competent people. I mean, there'll still be some competent people left over for sure, right? But you're going to get rid of a large portion of that competent people, and you're going to get rid of people that are trying to run more expensive infrastructure, right? So let's start looking at some numbers in terms of what K will actually be. Okay. So we all know, I said earlier, the saturation point, and it's not just stake pool operators, right? As delegates, this affects you a lot. It affects you a lot, right? You're going to get lower rewards, especially if we see K equals 500 or K equals 1000. You're going to get lower rewards for sure. And then on top of that, which that's fine, right? We can all get a little bit lower rewards if that means the ecosystem's healthier and you're supporting both small pools and larger operations alike, right? That's fine if we increase K to an optimum number that's perfect for both. But 500 and 1000 is not it, right? And I have another reason why I think that's not it, but we'll get into that in a second. Let's start looking at some actual numbers, right? So in terms of, let me pump this into a calculator. All right, so we'll just say there's 31 billion ADA currently. I think it's somewhere around that number. So you divide that, the total number of ADA in the ecosystem, and you divide that by K to get the actual saturation value, right? So we'll start off with 150. We'll do 31 billion divided by 150. It's 206 million ADA, right? So obviously there is a little bit more ADA than 31 billion. We'll make these calculations. We'll go to ADA pools. We'll see the exact number of ADA in the ecosystem. It might not say it. Maybe it says it on pool tool. Okay. So there's 31.2 billion ADA. I'm sorry for ranting. I just want to give all this information out there before we go back into the AMA style discussion, because I do have a lot of thoughts on this. And in a way, it really upsets me him talking about K equals 500 at this price. I mean, that just completely kills my entire business model, and we would have to change everything, and we would have to cheap out on some of our infrastructure at K equals 5,000, and that it does upset me, because you guys know how passionate I am about not only Cardano and Bloom, So we'll divide that by 150, so what we're currently at. So that is 208 million. So that's still a little bit low, but that's fine. 208 million, closest we can get. So now we'll divide 31.2 billion divided by 250, right? So this is K equals 250. This is half of what Charles has been talking about increasing it to. Saturation then becomes 124 million, right? So at K equals 250, you're cutting it a little bit less than half of what it's currently at. So that means if you guys were delegated to either of Bloom pools, it'd be saturated. Maybe that's not a bad thing, but from a delegate perspective, saturation is going to become an everyday thing for you no matter what pool you're delegating to. If we see K equals 500, if we see K equals 1000, saturation is going to be a constant worry for you every single day, right? Because, I mean, at K equals 1000, that means it only takes it'd be $3.2 million to saturate a pool at K equals 1000, right? And there are a good bit of people that have enough to do that, to saturate a pool in one go. So that's at 250, 120. So now we'll start talking what Charles is actually talking about, that he would like to see right now. Saturation value right in this moment, right? So that is going to be 31.2 billion. I think there's a little bit more ADA than that, but it's okay. Divided by 500. that's going to be 62,400,000 is the new saturation rate for K equals 500. 62,400,000. As a delegate, even if I wasn't a pool operator, I'm going to be worried about saturation a lot more than where it's currently at. And maybe that's a good thing, right? But I don't think that's sustainable, right? So then you can start talking the actual earnings from a pool at K equals 1,000, right? So we'll do the final one. We'll finish off this. K equals 1,000, 31.2 billion divided by 1,000. I mean, it's going to be 31 million if you're not stupid, but I'm pretty stupid. So 31,200,000. That's the new saturation level. 31 million ADA, 200,000. At 8 cents, at 9 cents, at 10 cents. It could be 5 cents a month from now, 2 months from now. Could be 20 cents a month from now, 2 months from now. But I think we should stick on the conservative side. So let's talk about actual earnings from a pool at 31 million ADA and 200,000. So say they're at the exact saturation point, right? They're maxed out 100%. Delegates love it. No one new's coming in. No one's leaving. So to do that, you multiply it by the fee percentage. So we offer premium infrastructure here at Bloom. We offer QA support. We offer YouTube videos. We try to offer a lot to provide a premium service and premium servers for the Cardano ecosystem. But a lot of people charge less fees, right? So we'll choose a more average fee in the ecosystem. We'll say 3%. And to some people, they still think 3% is high, right? So we'll do 3% here. So the saturation point at 31 million ADA, if a pool is charging 3% fee without the minimum cost per epoch, the earnings for that pool will be, hold on, let me do that, 31,200. So first you have to time it by the yearly earnings, right? So times that by 0.0, we'll do 0.055, so 5.5%. And then now we times that by the fee percentage. Anthony, please ban him from the chat. Okay, so I've done the math for you guys. So you take, I'm going to show you guys, this is without the minimum cost per epoch. That's important. It's also important to know that this is at the highest point in Cardano's rewards because it slows over time. I'll ban him myself. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so you take 31 million, 31 million, which is the saturation point that we talked about, 200,000, and you times that by 0.055, which is the average earnings right now. But keep in mind of that radioactive decay rate that I told you where the rewards will cut in half every 4 years, right? So that's only early on. And you times that by the 0.055, you times it one more time by the actual fee percentage that the stake pool charges, and that leaves you at 51,480 ADA a year. That's $5,148 a year, right? For a stake pool that's at full saturation. And that's not enough that's like barely touching enough money to actually even pay for the server cost, right? And not the time spent on marketing, not the time spending how to actually be a good operator, how to support the ecosystem. It's just really, I mean, him saying that. So yeah, it's no worries, Anthony. It's fine that you were chasing a baby, man. That's it's better than my excuse for leaving it there for too long. But I mean, what do you guys think, right? I mean, that's $5,148 for a fully saturated pool at K equals 1,000 at this current time. Do you think that's enough money to not only, because there's this big agenda going around that one pool per person is how it should be, or one pool per entity. And if you're not one pool per entity, you're completely against decentralization and you're Satan. So do you think that we should be paying the workers of the providers of our blockchain experience? Do you think we should be paying them $5,148 per year? I don't. And maybe I'm in the wrong here, right? But that's just my opinion on this. I don't think that's enough money to feasibly support talented people. I just don't. What's going to happen if you increase K like this is there's just going to be a larger amount of the same pools over and over and over again. So it's literally just lip service in a way. It's okay, K equals 1,000 when Cardano is 1,000 times more decentralized than Bitcoin, but without taking a look at the ANOT parameter and just increasing K, Cardano is not going to be 1,000 times more decentralized than Bitcoin. These other parameters have to be looked at, like the ANOT parameter, and the price of ADA actually has to go up to really account for the difference in profit with the K value. So that's kind of the big thing with that. As far as the one pool per entity or one pool per person thing, I also think that's bullshit because there are multiple people behind Bloom. We're paying multiple people behind Bloom. So these people that are trying to virtue signal and say that, oh, only one pool per person. Well, we have 3 people behind Bloom. Does that mean we get 3 pools? Or, well, what if your server is a VPS server that's on the same server as somebody else that runs at the same data center location? Is my bare metal server more decentralized than your 2 pools on the same server provider? What if I start a second bare metal server at a different location that's on a different ISP? Is that more decentralized than somebody that starts the same node or a different node, but a different person on the same virtual cloud provider in New York? I mean, you tell me, guys. I think the one pool per person is virtue signaling. I really do. There can be multiple pools that are more decentralized than multiple pools on a virtual private server, right? There can be pools that are more decentralized than other pools, right? It's this decentralization thing is not as simple as one pool per person because there's an entity behind Bloom, right? There's multiple people behind the stake pools at Bloom. So does that mean we get X amount of pools for X amount of people? I mean, you guys see where I'm coming from here? You know, I'm just trying to give you guys my opinion and how I feel about all this stuff. And that's another thing that kind of rubs me the wrong way, you know. But that's my thoughts on K. That's my thoughts on K equals 500, K equals 1,000. To me, I think that's just Charles Hoskinson lip service. K equals 1,000 just is not going to work right now. It's not. K equals 500 is not going to work right now. And if it is, this is going to be a completely different ecosystem for the delegate and the stake pool alike. And everything will have to change. So, what do you guys think? I told you I'd go on for a long time there. I'll go back up and read some of the comments. I went on for a long time. I knew it was going to happen. Jeremy said, what's K? Go back, rewatch the whole thing. I explained what K is a couple times. Richard said the live, yep, so Hank said we haven't reached brand awareness around the whole world yet. That's true. Alexander said, why not K equals 2,750? So half and everyone's happy. I think I just kind of raised my point there. DJ RT said, I got my buddy on Bloompool too. Thank you, man. Tell your buddy I said what's up, and thank you for supporting, and thank you too for supporting. Thank you guys for telling the spammer to stop spamming. Hank said, babies keep you on your toes. So I've heard. Rob Gregg said, you were taking the early risk. I think you should get better rewards. It should be like having when the price goes up and readjust when the price goes down. And that's the thing, man, is I'm not coming on here and saying, I deserve better rewards. I deserve better rewards because I was here first. That's not the point of my argument. My point of the argument is that the equilibrium of K and of all these parameters should support both hobby pools and pools that have a business backing them with multiple people, right? That's just my opinion. I think Walmart has more than one store, maybe a few other vendors as well. And that's what stake pools are going to be, a service in the future. Different stake pools are going to be able to offer different things. That's one important thing to keep into account. You know, what if I have different pools that do different things? You know, they're niche in a certain way. You know, because I mean, even some of the people that were Cardano ambassadors have kind of been talking a lot of shit about me and Rick and some of the other people that have multiple pools. And I think that's just virtue signaling, and it's a way to market their own pools. Michael Lesser said, like what you have to say, you're telling people like it is. The small stake pool operators, in my opinion, is not a good idea unless they have great hardware and well-informed operators. Yeah, I agree completely. And I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of good small stake pool operators out there, but particularly the small stake pool operators I don't like are the ones that charge 0% and really just try to affect. Because, I mean, when you charge 0%, you're forcing the market to lower their rates and essentially devaluing the actual infrastructure of the Cardano ecosystem. But I mean, you guys can stake to whoever you'd like. I'd love you to stake to Bloom, but if you stake to a 0% pool, you're showing where you would like the ecosystem to go, and that's cheap notes. Hank said the K needs to be a moving target. I agree, but it has to be attached to price, and it should be a very conservative rate. I heard the problem is the staking rate, that some users, they rise fees and they don't pay the amount to stakers. Yeah, Bloom, we're never going to raise our fees. Steven said, do we have a time frame for change? We do. He said he wants K to equal 1,000 by D equals 0, which is about 5 months away. So it's either just lip service or he would like it to be that, but he's been very serious and he's been mentioning it over and over and over again. And it's just, okay, I wanted to mention the last thing, and some people may not agree with this opinion, but I mean, doesn't it feel a little weird for IOG, right, to just change all of these parameters right before they hand the keys over, right? I mean, they're saying, okay, right before D equals 0 and the stake pools run the network, we're going to change the most important parameter in the entire ecosystem to 1,000, completely change how every single thing works in the entire ecosystem. Okay, now you guys take over. You guys take over now. So we just changed everything, but here's the keys. IOG initially said that they were going to increase K from 150 to 250 at a gradual increase based on price. And that added security to my business. I know what K can be at its max. I know I know that there's going to be a gradual increase that happens. I know that anything past that will be put to a vote, right? But the other alternative is they change that. We're not going to see 250. They want K equals 500, K equals 1,000. They want it right now, and it's right before they give us control. So if IOHK said that they're going to increase it to 250, why haven't they done that already? And why aren't they held to that? And why can they increase it to 500 and 1,000 right before they hand us the keys when 50% of the stake pools own the network right now? And 50% of, it's 50-50. We should have a say in this. It shouldn't be, if simulations and mathematicians would have predicted this parameter correctly, then we wouldn't be talking about changing K right now, right? It's literally a trial and error system, so trying an increase that's 7 or 8 times the amount that it is now is not a good idea, in my opinion. Thomas Baker says, do you think there will be realistic opportunities to start a stake pool in 1 year? I do. Gerald said, yep. Unknown said, yeah, that's what I heard today. They changed the value to 0 after the epoch. Yeah, I've heard of that. Kritzel said, what is a small pool in your opinion? That's a good question, man. I would say really anything below 10 million, This relentless focus on low fees make no sense. 0% fee only takes 10s of basis points off one's return. Really, it's peanuts. Yeah, I agree with you, Denny, and I wish more people thought about it that way because really the more fees that delegates pay, I'm not saying we should pay 10, but the better the infrastructure that people can provide, I do see where you're coming from. What's a few basis points off of, $5,000 that you have in a cryptocurrency? How much ADA will there be at the halving? The halving there's not one big event for the halving. It's a constant decay. In 4 years, we'll have half the amount, but in 2 years, we'll have 25% less, or I guess that'd be 50% less at 75% of the total rate. That math doesn't add up. Just ignore that. Crypto Learner said, what's your pool's name? I have Bloom and Bloom 2. We have over 3,000 delegates. We got 200 blocks last epoch. So you should check us out, Crypto. Thanks for asking. Hank said, what's your view on the pool's consortium idea? What do you mean consortium? Rob Gregg said, Race to the bottom, like you said, will have stake pools for sale on eBay. Anything that goes wrong, there'll be no skilled person to patch the bugs. I agree completely. Crypto Learner said, thank you, no problem, man. Thank you. Hank said, no problem. Imanti said, when we have the keys, can't it be changed and then vote on? Yeah, you're right, Imanti, but I don't know. I don't like the idea of them changing it 9 months out from the start of the decentralized network. It just doesn't sit well with me. We're all here for decentralization. We're all here to not have one entity guide us or control us. But I mean, that's what's happening, and it seems like everyone's okay with it. Steven said, remember, Charles does not work for you, us. I think you mean you or us. Yeah, I don't think he does, but I have, at the same time, I have the ability to disagree with him, But we've been going on for a really long time, an hour and 40 minutes. So we can get a couple more questions in, and then we will close out here for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed this AMA. It was a really fun one. It'd be really cool if you guys, right before we hopped off, we hit that like button. Can we get to 120 likes on this video? You click that notification bell, you click all notifications, and it really supports my channel. But either way, even if you guys don't do that, I appreciate you staying here for this long live stream. It was an awesome time. This was a really good one. I do them every Monday at 3 p.m. EST, an AMA every Monday. It's to answer your guys' question, to get this discussion going, and hopefully have a more educated community. One last thing, I'll answer a couple more questions after I say this, but big shout out to our sponsor for this video today, Alien Stake Pool. They sponsored this video, and it really means a lot. So the link for that will be down below. Thank you, Alien Stake Pool. Read the last questions, then we'll hop out of here. Denny said, thoughts on how multi-delegation and staking portfolios will affect this? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and that's I actually made a video on K, Denny, that we need multi-delegation wallets and we need staking delegation, what do we call it? Portfolios, where you can delegate to multiple pools. You delegate to a portfolio, and that delegates to multiple pools within that. I think we need that before we see a K increase. And if we do have those tools, my argument doesn't stand up as well. Hank said, thanks, Pay. Thomas said, great AMA, thanks. No said, nice AMA, man. I'll get back to you. I'll stick with your pool. Hey, man, you don't have to, but I'd really appreciate it, man. Manu said, you have a like for me. Thanks, man. We reached 123, so that was awesome. It's a great way to close. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. We're going to be doing a podcast with Frederick Regard from the Cardano Foundation this Friday at 11:30 p.m. or a.m. EST. If you guys want to ask him some questions, the link for that will be down below. Like I said, I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. Goodbye.
Go blue.
Go blue.